Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today I got a tutorial for you. Yay! I was asked on my Facebook page, which I link down below as well as my Instagram page, if I could do a tutorial of how I do these sketchy landscape pictures. So yeah, this is how I do it. I use a reference picture, as you can see. I printed it out here now because it was easier to show, but I usually just have it up on my laptop on my phone, and then I just lightly sketch out where what is. So I sketch out the path, the gate, the individual bushes and trees, and also the flowers. I also taped the area where I want the watercolour to be, so it wouldn't spill on the other stuff, but the tape wasn't very good, so I don't know if you can see in the end, but I kind of tore the paper up a bit. That's okay. I start with the sky, always start with the sky, because it mostly is the lightest part of the drawing. I usually try to, as you can see, try to make it that the colours are darker on the top of the page and fade towards the bottom, especially if it's just like a wash, like in the sky or on the grass bit on the side, because that is, when you look at the picture on the reference, you can see that the grass looks a bit darker the further away it is. I then start with the bushes, which I just use a dabbing motion with my brush for it to make it look loose and give it like a bit of an effect. I don't care if the areas are evenly filled. I often use a tissue paper as well to lighten up some areas which I feel need more light. I don't care too much about strong contrast at this point because I'm going to layer this picture up and I'm going to use a lot of layers. This is just the first layer. I also try, as you can see, to dry everything in between. I try to use to paint areas which are not next to each other so that they can dry naturally, but I often use my heat gun to dry it as well. I then go in with a darker colour, and even though on camera it looks like it is black on the reference, it was actually really dark green. So I used a really dark green to paint that in the back. Another thing, I just use like brush strokes to draw the trees, obviously, and because they're so far away, they just look to be the same colour as the leaves, so I don't bother to go in with a brown, because in the end that will look just like weird and like it doesn't fit. I try to make them darker than the rest of the leaves. Excuse me, I have a bit of a cold at the moment, I think. But yeah, I also make sure that I leave the flowers free because they are pink, so I don't want to mix the pink with the green, so that's why I'm doing that. I sped this bit up a bit just to show you how much I actually use paint. But yeah, I go over everything in the end again, like nothing is the first layer. Nothing in this picture except the sky, because the sky, but that is only because in that picture the sky is nearly white, so I felt like one layer would be appropriate. But a lot of the time I use multiple layers for that as well. So that is why I left it this time. For the grass, I just use small brush strokes to create the effect of grass. I know in this drawing I probably should have used a lot smaller brush strokes or less brush strokes in the back, so it made the whole thing look a lot smaller and didn't give it as much depth as the reference picture, or just gave it a lot more tall grass feeling on the sides, but that's okay. I also added texture to the flowers on the side, and then I started painting the fence. I struggled with that a bit because that was really hard to make it look like it is actually like wood which is man-made and not organic and flowy, because I struggle with that. But yeah, I also added some red flowers which gave a nice contrast to the whole picture and just gave it a bit more colour. And as you can see, the red flowers are a bit brownish as well, which is partly what I wanted, but also due to the fact that I painted on top of the green and didn't leave it out like I did with the pink flowers. That's why they have an even higher contrast, and even though you can't see them as much on the reference picture, I wanted to give them the focus of the image, kind of like, because I felt like it needed some kind of contrast, otherwise it would just be like green. In the end, I go over it with a thin fine liner. I think I'm using XS of the Faber-Castell PITT artist pens. It's just fine liners I got at the moment, so but just so you get a size reference. And I just roughly did outlines. Like, I didn't do proper outlines or anything. I just really sketched on top of that what I've just painted. So I made like loose leaves, loose grass effects. Yeah, and that's the finished image. I hope you like it, and if you did, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!